Skills for Chicagoland's Future?
We can't see the main slide.
Okay, you can't see it at all?
We can see the main slide.
Okay, Arturo, blow it up and then do your arrow.
Okay.
It's that icon at the bottom to your right, all the way, little icon right after before the volume button. So sorry, everyone.
Hold on.
It's there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, never mind. But you know what? Just keep going to the next slide because they're still on the presenter slide, on the Skills for Chicagoland's Future slide.
Okay. So I'm
Reshare. Reshare.
Okay, hold on.
Unshare and reshare.
Okay.
Google Meets is a little different, I know. Okay,
can you see
there
mine?
you go. Yes, now you're better. Okay. So you're on the importance of collaboration slide. Like, do you want to go back one?
Sure. Hold on.
Okay,
Yeah, so I
there
was
you go. Pick it up.
speaking. Yeah, so I was speaking on the skills criteria. Like I said, unemployed and underemployed candidates, Chicagoland residents, and ready to work. So underemployed means that you're working 32 hours or less a week, that you're working in a contract, seasonal or temporary role, or working in a role outside of your expertise. The importance of collaboration, community partnerships. Okay, so here at Skills, we work closely with community-based organizations throughout Chicagoland to help the participants of those programs find employment. We like to think of our services as a relay race. The community-based organization provides job seekers with job readiness and supportive services. They prepare the job seeker for the interview and employment. They then hand it off to us over here at Skills to talent acquisition, where we provide job seekers with employer insights that aren't generally shared or articulated on posted job descriptions. We review resumes, review interview skills, and try to qualify them and match them up to the job description, and then connect the job seeker to current employment opportunities. And if they do match up and do qualify, we then forward them over to interview with the employer. Here, the employer, who has signed letters of intent with Skills to interview job-ready candidates, will get to meet the candidate and review his whatever questions they have for the candidate, and then hopefully hire the job-ready candidate, which will then, complete the race in a placement in employment. Okay, so here's our community partnerships. We do have over 100 linkages to community-based organizations. We are part of the Community-Based Organization Collective. We have relationships with Build Chicago, Chicago Cred, New Moms, Noble Network, Upwardly Mobile, Build, and so on and so forth. Moving on along. So our commitment to CBO referrals. The talent acquisition team is committed to contacting community partner referrals within 5 to 7 business days from their application and providing accurate and timely updates on next steps. They can give candidate feedback, is also available for our community partners within our referral program. And has a candidate applied to Skills, been interviewed by an employer, and whether the job candidate has received a job offer or not. Also, our commitment to our CBOs is we have virtual, in-person, or recruitment events throughout the year. These recruitment events, we do prioritize CBO referrals for event registrations, interview spots, and meeting with the talent acquisition team and/or employer partner hiring managers.
All right, I'll take it over from here, Arturo. Again, good evening, everyone. I'm the manager of community strategic partnerships here at Skills for Chicagoland's Future. And we do work with several employer partners across Chicagoland, all Fortune 500 in different industries. So this is just a list of the employers, but what we're featuring today is Endeavor Health. We wanted to expand on our partnerships and go north, especially the Evanston area. And Endeavor Health, they have lots of opportunity there. So that's why we're on this call today. So I'll just be going over a couple of roles that Endeavor are featuring, and also Walgreens. All the Walgreens across the north side, Evanston area are hiring as well. So next slide. So with our Endeavor Health roles, they are looking for patient care technicians. So, and again, before I get into this, you can find all these roles at scfjobs.com. That's scfjobs.com. And we will also share this deck with Juan, so Juan can share the deck out to everyone in the room. But again, they are looking for patient care technicians. Some of the responsibilities is to provide care to patients on assigned nursing units, essential functions while assisting with patient-specific care plan, including answering patient call signals, documenting vital signs, and other patient care activities as directed. The qualifications, you must be CNA certified with a lot of these roles, but maybe not one or two, but the majority of the roles are CNA certification, and must have the ability to effectively manage stress, have confidentiality and interactive, especially with others, and also have a high school diploma or a GED required. The schedule is full-time, but they're looking for first, second, or third shift and weekends. And again, it's at Evanston Hospital. Decent compensation starting at 17 and up based on the experience, but it does go up, but it also has benefits. Next slide. So also they're looking for medical assistant, patient support associates, and medical assistants. Again, there is a certification, but just 1 year work experience required in the medical office. Preferred on-job training is provided for those who do not have previous medical assistant training or experience, but must be able to perform needed clinical skills based on the office specificality, including vital signs and other relevant skills. A certification or registration as a medical assistant with a nationally recognized accrediting body preferred. Strong interpersonal and communication skills, because you will be working with patients. So a current CPR certification with American Heart Association or American Red Cross is required. These are, again, full-time roles, looking for first shift, second shift, and weekends in Evanston. So again, compensation is starting at 17 to 23 an hour based on the experience with benefits. Next slide.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
And then lastly, we have a full-time, we're going into the Walgreens roles, but for those Endeavor Health roles, again, you can find those roles at our site at scfjobs.com, where you can find those roles and other roles we have across the Chicagoland area, but specifically showing where in Evanston, the Endeavor Health and Walgreens role. Walgreens is looking for a full-time shift lead key holder. Some of the duties will act as a face of Walgreens, so our customers take on leadership roles, motivate the team to inspire teamwork, and provide excellent customer service. Some qualifications: you have to be at least 21 years old with open availability, at least 1 year of leadership, supervisory management, and have a friendly demeanor and hardworking attitude, and must pass an online multiple choice assessment with no diploma required. This role is full-time, and there are, like I said, various locations across Evanston and Northside that are hiring, and the starting compensation is 17, but Walgreens is known for going up, so that also goes up, and they also have benefits. Next slide. So again, to apply for any of the roles that we do have, we do have a system. So we start with our employer partner first, as Arturo mentioned. We post those opportunities to our skills website, and then we connect with community-based organizations that have the workforce development to prepare their candidates or clients and get them all prepped. Then those candidates apply to scfjobs.com, and then the candidate interviews with one of our skills talent acquisition leads aka recruiter, and then the candidate interviews with the employer partner, and then that candidate is given an offer. So the special and unique thing about Skills is we kind of work as the business intermediary. We connect people to the job opportunities, and and we keep our hands on. So what's special about us as well, we keep our hands on the candidates through the pre-employment process. So we're big on retention, making sure they're through the 30, 60, 90-day approach. So if you know of any community-based organizations across Evanston that would love to work with Skills for Chicagoland's Future, please feel free to reach out to us. I will put my information in the chat, along with giving it, Juan has our information as well. So we thank you for listening, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I have shared some of these slides before in social media, and we've heard from Crystal and Arturo that they actually have gotten some really good feedback from Evanston residents, and we always want to put people in touch with new job workforce development opportunities. So I'm really excited that they reached out to us, and we hope that we keep this partnership, and I'll be trying to get that information out as much as possible when things come up. So thanks a lot. Our next part, this will just be, I will. We'll have this information, and this is recorded, and this goes out on Facebook, and so we will get all the slides and all the presentation notes. So now I want to thanks Beth. So I will introduce our next part of the program. We have our new deputy city managers here. So most folks probably aren't aware of kind of the leadership turnover we had in the city. When I joined like 2.5 years ago, we had interim, I think, everyone at the director level. And so after hiring city manager Stowe, he's slowly been building his team. And one of our last really integral pieces are 2 deputy city managers. So we have Karina Sanchez and Steve Ruger, and this is like the culmination of a nationwide search that we did. And I was involved with the interview process, and I was really excited that we had folks with such a breadth of experience and knowledge. And I just want to have them come up and talk a little bit about their previous work experience.
All right, thank you, council member. And thank you all for coming out tonight. It's nice to see people who, care about what's happening in their ward and in their local government. So like council member Harakaris said, I'm Steve Ruger, and I've been here for about a month now. I come from Colorado, so a little bit of a change, but it was. But in my cohort in local government, Evanston's always been a city that's well respected and looked to as a model. So I know we kind of get caught in our own little bubble of Evanstonia here. But outside of Evanston, when you mention the name, people recognize that and they have warm thoughts about it. Many people have connections to Northwestern and have visited here. So when I saw the job, I really started looking into it. Was very impressed with some of the policy direction that the city council is taking the city, very bold moves that we're making right now. And it just seemed like something I wanted to explore and be part of. So it's been a while. I think we applied, back in March, February, something like that. But we're finally coming online, giving city manager Stowe some much needed relief. So my background has always been in local government. I love being able to work for the people and be part of a team. And I mean that. We have a great team at City Hall of people who are here doing our best really to make life better for you all and for us as well as residents and visitors to the community. So Karina and I kind of split assignments in terms of departments. So just so you know, my departments, I oversee a couple of offices of the city manager. So that'd be transportation and mobility, and then also the Office of Sustainability, and then department-wise, and also economic development. And then department-wise, I'm over Public Works and then Community Development. So it's a very nice portfolio. Sometimes I'm jealous of Karina's portfolio, but she'll tell you more about that. But that's it. So if you see me around, say hi, and really excited to be here and work with such a great council and such a great team. So thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karina Sanchez, and it's truly a pleasure to be here. Steve's been here a month. I've been here today exactly be 2 months. Going into my 3rd month, it still feels like the first day every day because it's a very active time and getting to do a lot of things. But I want to thank the council member Herakaris for having us here today. And I think it's very important to meet the residents and for you also to know who we are. Feel free to come up to us if there's any issues or concerns. We will try our best to help you as best as we can. Give us some grace. It's still new. It might take us a little bit longer to get you the answers, but we will get there. As I said, my name is Karina Sanchez. I have a number of departments under me: administrative services, administrative adjudication, parks and recreation and community services, communications, and health and human services as well. And I am also supporting some of the departments that Steve has. So one of the things that we're trying to do is just have a much more cohesive working relationship, because one of the things we realized early on is that even though they're different departments, they all touch other departments and we have to work well together. Just a little information about myself. I've been in public service for over 20 plus years. Yes, I started when I was 10 years old. Thank you very much. But right out of college, since I was very young, I always knew I wanted to go into public service. To me, that was the way that you brought about change. I am actually local somewhat. I am from Chicago, born and raised. For those that know, I grew up, my family is still in Pilsen. I actually live not that far from here in Uptown. So Evanston is a community that we would always come. My family and I always come over here, whether it's for dinner, shopping. My son loves making me drive him everywhere up around Northwestern. So when this opportunity came up, I definitely wanted to be here. As I stated, over 20 plus years in public service. I worked at the state, the county, and most recently at the city of Chicago. In Chicago, I was the deputy city clerk for about 5-6 years. And then my latest post, I was the executive director for the Public Building Commission of Chicago. And for people, and I don't expect you to know who, that agency, but essentially it was a public developer for the city of Chicago. We built and updated a number of schools, public facilities. So all of the schools, police stations, fire stations, all of that was done under the PBC and under my portfolio. In the 6+ years that I was there, we did over $1 billion worth of work. So one of the things that brought me here was just that opportunity to be able to work directly with residents, really support City Manager Luke Stowe, which, by the way, great guy. He's doing a lot of work, and to be able to just give him that support to provide services for the residents is a great opportunity. And I just have to say that the staff here is very impressive. Like I said, I've been at the state, county, and city, and the competence, the passion that they have for the work that they do is by far a lot better than I've seen in other places. And I just feel very honored to be part of the team. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I look forward to, getting to know you all. Of course, I won't remember everyone's names. I'm sorry. It's one of me, many of you. But just if you see me around, say hello. I'm sure our information will be shared with everyone. So again, reach out. We're here to help in any way that we can. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been telling folks, organizationally, we're kind of, City Manager Stowe taking over and kind of stabilizing the organization and building his team was kind of like City of Evanston, 1.0. And now that we have a full leadership team, we have a lot of really ambitious projects that we can't do by ourselves. And I'm really excited to have Karina and Steve here to help us with that. So really excited for them to be here. I'm going to move along to our third topic of discussion. So I have, let's see. So we have, let's see. So I'll first start off, how many people know about 2221 Keeney and know where that is? Okay, there's 2, 3, 4 people. Okay. So, yeah, so it's an interesting property. I will read the actual. So we have the official timeline here. So in and around May of 2001, so my predecessor, Cicely Fleming, had received a lot of complaints from the neighbors. There were people burning pallets inside this building, and the neighborhood has a history of environmental justice issues, and so there's residential right alongside light industrial, and this was really problematic and really affecting the potential health of the residents. And so we've yes. Okay. Yeah. And so in May 2021, the city filed suit against the property because of the structurally unsound use and dangerous use. Upon inspection, it was confirmed that they're burning pallets. The company that was residing there was kind of fly by night, so they kind of disappeared and left the building. At that point, there was an absentee owner of the building. A title search led the city to an interesting journey to determine ownership. The property was included in a bankruptcy around 2015. And then the strange part is the mortgage holder never recorded a deed, because after the bankruptcy proceedings, the mortgage holder actually went out of business. So it was like a property in limbo, so to speak. So with the Cook County, property taxes going back to 2017 hadn't been paid. And as you know, sometimes properties go up for a property tax sale, but because of the amount of taxes owed, no one ever bought the property. At one point then, the city, amended our dangerous building lawsuit to include an abandoned property claim. And so after all this happened in June of last year, we were granted ownership of the building. And then in September, we finally received the deed. I can share some photos here. So when we took, and some people I know have done walks through that smaller. So you can see here, yeah. So we have a lot of pallets because of all of the debris outside the building. And speaking with City Manager Stowe, the city hired a cleaning crew to, clean up the outside just because of concerns over rodents and also public safety. And so since then, it's been cleaned up. Now, into the interior, it took a long time for us to even get access inside the building because it was marked dangerous and uninhabitable. So there was concerns about the structural soundness of the building. Basically, there are interior walls that are falling down. Brian, you have a question? I don't have that off the top of my head. So yeah, to add to the kind of difficulty, Keeney Street doesn't go through. It's also attached to another building that is already there. And so you can see the
non-legal access. The access to the building, there's no legal access to the building. Actually,
there would have to be an easement. I'm not sure exactly. yeah, so it's not the most exciting building for us to get for free. We, you know, when I first heard that we were, you know, there's trees growing inside. And so what our first next steps now, we've actually had a lot of people interested in the building. So the neighbor on Hartree, 600 Hartree, is interested in perhaps buying it and moving in Reprise Roasters. We've had landscape companies who are interested in buying the property to store equipment. We have some local nonprofits. Evanston Latinos is interested in maybe rehabbing the building and putting in a commercial kitchen. We've also had people interested in moving a mechanic, which I know, and this is what, and so my first step was to bring kind of to light what the possibilities are. We don't know what we're going to do with the building yet, but I wanted to let the community know that there's a potential. There's also a potential for the city to hold on to the property. We have site control is pretty important. There doesn't seem to be anyone around there that is willing to also sell their buildings in order for us to do something exciting ourselves. So this is a first step of kind of getting some feedback from the public, and I know Pat lives down the block, so, but I want, you know, people maybe not tonight, or just email me, like, what would you like to see there? There's a couple. But
I think you gave some of the businesses that want to develop their development stand. Got to in line, so
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, so it was Rob, so what, yeah. So what, without, the city hasn't spent any money on like site excavation. We're fairly certain you can't excavate and build new there because of the remediation costs. We are told that the building itself, if you clear out the interior walls, is safe. We haven't delved too much into that because it's still very early on, but there are concerns about what you can do on the site just based on previous history.
things like serving food,
Yeah.
sort of basic, human activity in that building would be a good idea to look at that place to see, and if it is good, in which there's, considering that was also used during wartime, right? That federal dollars be brought in there to clean up the site, period. It's found to be compromised, which I think we can pretty much assume based on the history of the site that it is.
Yeah.
So it becomes, for me, it becomes like, what is our emphasis on, like, throwing a coat of paint on it and trying to move it along? Or are we trying, as Evanstonians, to kind of like feel some of the, very good mood that building is? And, she talks to me frequently about how she smells and has.
I smell.
Pardon me?
You mean what I'm inhaling?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, you're just, you're putting up vials on it, and, where there's clearly a conflict. So one can suspect, okay, if you're putting your car in reverse,
The problem with this whole area, as you all know, since we've had several walks. There's more than just this building is an issue. So my question is, has the city looked into what remediation would cost just to even have some consultant come in and tell us what's in there, do that whole, like, poison stuff and because that would be the first thing. How usable is this building? Or is it better to just tear the whole thing down? Because then it's a big open space.
Yeah. I don't know. That's,
So that's a big question.
I mean, we have people who have some expertise with intergovernmental agreements, so we can look into that. Yeah, it's also made difficult because of it sharing a roof with another building. That, yeah. But yeah, question in the back?
But I noticed the person, I the house.
Yeah.
The sale for the sign is gone and it's not.
I think the building, if I remember correctly, yeah. Yeah. That I haven't gotten in because they took down the for sale sign, but I haven't heard what's happening with it. I think it is off the market. I haven't heard that it's sold though. So no, it's the one, it's one of the mechanics right next door. So yeah. And yeah. So it actually, at some point, the pin, it was a larger property and they split the pin into 2 different properties, which is very strange. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The building that falls, did they have to take it over?
Hmm?
The city didn't take it over. Like that, I mean, should worry about the cost of the issue. The door that is their problem, is it the county problem?
Well, legal thought it's better for us to have site control rather than have someone else buy it and then, yeah. I have not, I know they were looking for space before. Yeah. I mean, I've spoken to Evanston Grows about, so, you know, there are interested parties, but there's a lot of uncertainty, obviously, a lot of questions, but I just wanted, you know, kind of get the gauge of what folks are interested in. I think, you know, doesn't have to necessarily happen next month, but it's on people's radar. So another question? Well, we were thinking about offering it as like a park, as a place to store cars, but there's also concern about just storing too many cars. There's been there was actually a fire at North Shore Towing, like 4 years ago? Yeah, so it's, for me, I want something that's gonna improve the neighborhood. And so, you know, also getting feedback, what people want to see. We're kind of limited because it is a small, even though it's kind of a big site, it's not big enough to do. We discussed internally a potential like green manufacturing, you know, center, like we could look for grants, but it's not really big enough to do a big project. So I just want to get this on everyone's radar. And if you have any ideas, please email me. Just interested in, getting feedback, and, we'll loop back around later on. I could do a survey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Well, I'll be getting feedback. So, and then I think at this point, Sergeant Fred. Yeah. Yeah. I was. Yeah. And so when we were speaking with facilities and legal about getting access, because I was concerned, because I've been in the building and I didn't want to go in the building if it if it was like super dangerous. But they said, at least the smoke from the pallets and that it would be safe to go inside and look around. But that's one thing we can look and see. I don't think, we can speak to this, Steve.
Yeah, so before any development could happen, it would have to go through what's called a phase 1 environmental test. And then that's to just survey and see if they find hazardous material. Then, assuming they do, which it sounds like they will, then it goes into phase 2, which gets into more of the remediation and programming. And then from there, obviously we would have to take care of all of the environmental hazards before it could be developed into anything. I think to Councilmember Harakardis's point, it still may be safe to walk in there. There might not be particulates in the air, but it's not obviously safe yet to be developed. So hopefully that kind of helps a little bit.
And I know from prior experience, with other city properties that maybe have some abatement happening, a lot of times it's the excavation, which triggers most of the EPA work, like, removing the soil and taking it off site. A lot of times capping, if they can prove that it, put down concrete and then, that it basically seals the contaminants. But the worst thing to go in do is like start excavating. But we can look into seeing what, that's not, I would go by what the EPA says. There are sites that they cap it and you can build housing on it. And if you have the right, it's like, they're the experts. So I would follow what the EPA said. So there's a fence. Yeah. I don't know. We haven't gotten that far. This is just. It's all going to be, this is why we're starting the conversation in public. So, yeah. There. Right, I'll hand it over.
Thank you, Councilmember Harakis. Hi, for everybody in the room. I'm Officer Bazner with the Evanston Police Department. I've been here at the department for about 18 years now. I know I look like I'm 12. I got hired in 2006. I've been here ever since. I currently I did a lot of my work with the police department in the patrol division, did a lot of training for the department. I still do. I was a field trainer. Now I'm assigned to the community policing unit. The difference between your community policing officers and those who are your regular everyday patrolmen is I'm assigned to the political wards, and I'll come to meetings like this and reach out to community members with issues they might be having. I'm currently assigned to wards 4, 8, and 9. Unfortunately, due to our manpower issues that we got going on, there are only 3 community policing officers for the entire city right now. We all handle about 3 wards, so we're quite busy, but we've been able to maintain. But I'm here to give you guys the safety report, or basically the statistics for the last month, couple months in the 4th ward. And what I can tell you is that it's been relatively low key. The 9th ward has had, it says major incidents. This is our crime analyst, Marianne Ring. She provides us all our statistics and what the reports as they come in. The only thing that's excluded from this report is a robbery that took place earlier, just before August, right here across the street. Yeah, sure, please do. Thank you. Okay, so we got 1 burglary to a motor vehicle. We have a residential burglary, a motor vehicle theft, 3 motor vehicle thefts, 1 of those of which is attempted. Couple thefts, 1 catalytic converter theft, and a package theft. And what I'll say about that in regards to thefts all over the city, whether it's 4th ward or otherwise, is that that is the majority of our crime here in Evanston, theft and burglary, for the most part. And what I usually tell people is there's a lot of preventative measures you can do as a citizen to kind of mitigate a lot of that. Meaning, like, one big thing that I like to put out to residents and citizens is do a 9 o'clock routine or a 10 o'clock routine, whatever time you plan on going to bed. And just before that happens, maybe make sure your car is secure, your house is secure, everything on the exterior is secure before you go to bed. That way it'll prevent things from being lost or mislaid or laid out, packages, that sort of thing. When it comes to packages, I try to tell people, keep track of your email or have a good idea of a time frame when you're going to get that package, so that you can be home when it comes, so it's not sitting on your porch all day. Because there's people that will follow FedEx drivers, delivery drivers, and steal your stuff. Or you could just simply have a friend pick it up for you, or even divert the package delivery to a place like a UPS delivery or FedEx pickup. And that'll prevent a lot of that. With burglary, and vehicles mostly is what we see. And that's people leaving their cars unlocked about 90% of the time. If you have valuables, try not to leave them in your car. We see a lot of that, and definitely don't leave your keys in your car, because that will get your car stolen. So a residential burglary was on the 800 block of Elmwood. They entered through an unsecured window and jewelry was taken. So somebody left jewelry in their car. Just a prime example. Go ahead. Okay. That might not be if it's more recent. You said a couple nights ago. Yeah, sometimes we get calls for suspicious people. I can't speak to that individual incident unless I had a little more information. Usually a CAT event or a specific date and time helps me go back and look, and I can answer your question later on that and try to figure out what that was. Yep. People sleeping by Aldi's. I haven't heard any reports of that, but if we do get that, generally, if somebody is sleeping there and the owner of the property or the business doesn't want them there, or if you see that we can do check the well-being, absolutely, you can call non-emergency. We'll check on them. Yeah, we see that a lot. Well, I mean, there's other places around the city where the unhoused will go and they'll find a spot to get warm or lay their belongings and that sort of thing. Sure. Yeah, that's incorrect. That's just it was a stock photo that was put on part of our. It's not the actual map. It was the statistics in the upper right box. The map is incorrect. The map and dates, that's an incorrect old slide, but the numbers were refilled into that slide. I just didn't have access to this stock photo because it was kind of placed in there. It wasn't for me to edit. That's why it's there.
You don't require commercial
Nope.
break-ins?
None on this period. So let me go back. 1 second here. I don't know what I did. Having technical difficulties here. Give me 1 second. I have no idea what I just did now. Is this mouse pad? Want to help me out?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the screen from at
Yeah,
home
it might have
here.
got unshared. I apologize for those who are online.
That's okay. Thank you.
I think you just got to go back to the slideshow and then reshare it.
Any gunshot reports? Because we have to do the past couple of weeks.
None that I'm showing in the stats that we got from.
Great. Thank you.
A lot of times we get those reports and it may not be bona fide. That's why that number wouldn't be in there. So sometimes we'll get loud reports or shots fired calls and we'll show up and it's either not bona fide, meaning we're not finding evidence of shots fired, or a citizen has verified that was fireworks in the air, or somebody witnessed that there was fireworks taking place, because sometimes that'll happen as well. Sure.
Fire station in Madison.
Yeah.
There, she has, she was decided.
Yeah.
She ended up on the sidewalk in front of them, with policemen sitting on the back. There was about 20.
I am familiar with that incident. That individual was wanted, and I was that officer. So she was, yeah, I wasn't sitting on her back. I was taking her into custody, but if you want more details about that, we'll talk about that. Okay. What's up? Sure. Yeah. No, she was wanted. I didn't want to necessarily go all into the incident when I'm here for a safety report for the remainder of the community. But if you'd like to know, she was wanted for biting a policeman. Biting a policeman. One of our police sergeants, they had a call for domestic there probably a couple nights prior. That individual intervened in the arrest and bit the sergeant attempting to take the other person into custody. She escaped. She made good on her escape. The day I was working, she was wanted. So I sat in the area waiting for her to appear. She did. I called out her name. We're familiar with her. I told her she was under arrest and she resisted arrest. Then she was ultimately placed into custody without any harm. And then she was transported to our station and ultimately sent to Cook County and then released on a non-detainable offense. So she was given a court date for her offense for biting a policeman. So and she also bit me, by the way. So 2 counts of aggravated battery of policeman. She did. She bit me. Bit me on the hand. So yeah, I think the last statistic I have here was another vehicle burglary where vehicle was left, medication was taken, unlocked. The 2 motor vehicle thefts that were stolen in the ward had keys left in them. So don't leave your keys in your car. And then the catalytic converter was taken by unknown subject. So we had 1 catalytic converter theft. So that's the general statistics we have for the last couple months and the last few incidents that took place. If you have any other questions of me, please feel free to ask. We try to come to these as often as we can to give you guys updates. Yeah, go ahead.
A number of general things to say. First of all, with the getting darker sooner, I saw in Skokie one glorious accident and then another vehicle. It was already dark, no lights on. One was a white vehicle, but then there was an awful collision at Holton and Skokie Boulevard. One of the 2 vehicles had no lights on. Also, for 20 years now, there have been a requirement of having a windshield wiper design with headlights on. And there are still people that choose if they don't like it, they don't take time running lights. You don't see them And so, I'm sure, you know, people are concerned about the police, but they stop for no reason and so on and so forth. So I don't know how you can handle that. One more thing is, thanks to the auto industry, I thought that both a driver's window and passenger window cannot be dark. And I've seen not only that, but a dark windshield. And last week, in Hoover West parking lot, there was a vehicle there in the handicap area, and I have a handicap truck. And if he was handicapped, I'm Abraham Lincoln. And so, what can be done with that, especially when you're not to endanger yourself if you stop a vehicle that has dark windows?
Yep.
With your PA system or whatever, require that they lower the windows so
Yes.
that you can see them.
Yeah. So for those who are online who couldn't hear, maybe couldn't catch all of what the gentleman said, he was inquiring about several different traffic violations, or what we call equipment violations, to include those that were driving during at night, and those when you drive during the rain, that they should have their lights on, as well as a tinted window, what is considered legal, driver and passenger sides of the vehicle. All of those are considered equipment violations. And yes, when we do stop vehicles like that for, let's say, tinted windows, as you discussed, we will ask them to lower the window. We do have tint meters in Evanston where we have, by law, you have to compare the front windows to the rear, because there's a lot of vehicles out there that have the factory smoke tint on the vehicle all the way around. The legal requirement is that it has to be 35% darkness all the way around. So if it's anything darker than that, which would be considered limo tint, and then there's a 5% variance. So we take that meter, we measure the front window if they lower it, or if they allow us to lower it, and then we compare it to the back, and then we can issue a citation for that. If it's not within the appropriate specs of the meter. The meters are tested, they come with factory tested glass, so it's a tested meter. It's tested every day before it's used, if the officer uses it. And then we can write citations if they're in violation.
Well, two things. I can appeal to the representatives with the city manager's office. Maybe in an email, if one of the weekly emails, you can include a statement about the windshield wipers being put on, or lights being put on when the windshield wipers are on, as a reminder.
One thing we can do with that with the police department is we can kick out reminders on Twitter for people. We do that often with other things that come up during the seasons, whether it's crime related or whatever, but we can kick out something like, hey, it's going to be getting dark soon. Please turn on your lights when you drive. Please, when it rains, please put on your lights and activate your wipers. So that's something we've done before. We do that with mostly right now with the traffic obstructions. So if there's an accident, something like that, they'll throw it out on Twitter so people can see that, hey, there's a traffic obstruction or an accident here, to avoid the area.
One more item is I see you return plastic covers for license plates.
Mhm.
Some are tinted.
Correct.
It's another item that should be.
Correct. That's also an Illinois Vehicle Code violation. And to your point, you asked a question about what to do when you see these things. Generally, officers have to kind of witness that firsthand. So if we happen to be driving, or maybe you catch us on the side of the road, that might be a good way to do it. The other way is when you said you had somebody parked in a handicap spot, and whether or not that's legal. Obviously, that individual may have not had a placard or a plate. Feel free to call us, non-emergency, call our traffic unit, or even a patrolman will respond out to those locations to determine if that's the case. Even on private property, we can write a citation for that. Yep.
Little piece of housekeeping just related to kind of safety incidents. City Manager Stowe sends everyone on council basically a list of major incidents every day if we have a major incident. And if there's something that's an active, like safety or a threat, we get a text. So if there's, something like if, there's an incident at the beach, there was a few weeks ago, there was someone who was, there was the helicopter out, they saved someone at the beach. And so, we get a text usually pretty quickly just so that we know what's going on. So, like if you have any questions about like, hey, what happened, just send an email and, yeah. So we can,
No hard feelings. That was the reason why I kind of tried to defer to continue with the presentation, was because I'd rather have you get the specifics from me off to the side and not everything else. Like, that was the reason.
all right. And now, Climate Action Evanston. Brian, if you want to come up. Yeah. We can make sure.
Let me get a couple things right quick.
Brian, you want me to play the video first and then cue it up?
Okay.
This is for the folks online. Hello, everybody. I'm Brian Bacharis. I'm a lifetime Evanston resident and a 36-year resident of the 9th Ward. I'm also a founding member of the Citizens for Greener Evanston, which is now called Climate Action Evanston. Tonight, we're going to just give you a very brief presentation about community solar. Any residential unit in the state of Illinois, in most service areas of ComEd and Ameren, are eligible to sign up for community solar. Doesn't cost a dime to sign up, and they are offering savings approximately 15% per month on your bill, and it's just to encourage the growth of clean, renewable energy. It's a really simple thing to sign up for. There are a number of companies that want to have you as their client. I am with one called Nexamp, and there are a number of others which I'll cover in a few minutes. This is a 3-minute, 40-second video from the Citizens Utility Board that tells you a short story about what a wonderful program in Evanston that you can sign up for and become part of the solution for our climate change in our community. Thank you, Juan. Would you play that?
Community solar is booming in Illinois. For the first time, you can enjoy the benefits of solar energy without having to install a solar system on your property. The basic idea is this. A company builds a community solar project somewhere in your electric utility territory. You enter into an agreement to pay that company a subscription for a share of that project. Each month, the project sends electricity to the grid, and the owner reports the output of your share to your utility. And you get a credit on your utility bill for the electricity your share produced. So let's imagine that your home used 1,000 kilowatt hours, or kWh, of electricity in a month, and your community solar share produced 800 kilowatt hours in that same month. Your utility bill would be credited for that 800 kilowatt hours in the supply section of the bill. So on that month's bill, you would only need to pay for the remaining 200 kilowatt hours of electricity that you used, along with the delivery and taxes and fees sections. And then you would pay a bill to your community solar provider for the 800 kilowatt hours generated by your share, ideally with a discount applied. So in order to save, what you paid your community solar provider would have to be less than the value of the supply credits you received on your utility bill. In addition to lowering electric bills for subscribers, community solar can improve the power grid's reliability and reduce the need for expensive and polluting power plants, lowering market prices for all. So that's all you need to know, right? But wait, who can be a subscriber? How do I choose a provider? How do I choose How long will my subscription last? Can I end my subscription? Where do I learn more? Whoa. Okay, let's take this one at a time. Any residential or business customer can subscribe to a community solar project that's located in their electric utility service territory. But your income or client base may determine what kind of subscriber you are. There are two main community solar programs in Illinois. Illinois Solar for All is a state-administered solar incentive program that allows income-qualified residents and organizations that serve them to subscribe to a community solar project without any upfront costs. And any fees paid over the contract term won't be higher than half of the value received from utility bill credits. So, savings are guaranteed. The other program is Illinois Shines. This is a state-administered program to support solar across Illinois, regardless of income. Unlike Illinois Solar for All, Illinois Shines Community Solar Program does not prohibit upfront costs, and savings are not guaranteed. This means that the program does not require companies to offer savings. However, all of the community solar offers we've seen so far do offer savings. To check eligibility requirements and learn more about Illinois Solar for All, visit illinoissfa.com, and to learn more about Illinois Shines, visit illinoisshines.com. Both the Illinois Solar for All and Illinois Shines programs have strong consumer protections. But some offers may be better than others, and you'll most likely be signing a long-term contract. Check out the next video, How Do I Choose a Community Solar Offer, to learn more. CUB also created a website called solarinthecommunity.com, where you can find information about the programs and evaluations of each offer, including a comparison chart.
Thank you, Juan, and thank you everyone for taking a few minutes to learn a little more about this. I've been a customer for about 20 months, and there has been a bit of a snafu in the billing because of ComEd's billing software. But I went to the website today to see what my account had for the Alden Road Harvard Solar Project with Nexamp. And it shows that my lifetime savings on this were $109, but my lifetime emissions avoided thus far have been 9,978 kilograms of carbon. And it's a very small utility in Harvard, Illinois. These are not generally large-scale utility plants. They're small solar projects that are being encouraged by the state to improve on our solar capacity as a state. Also, there's a number of companies that operate locally. Trajectory Energy Partners, Nexamp, and Solstice are a few. It's important to mention that the city of Evanston has a community power aggregation agreement with Commonwealth Edison, and we are able to choose our own supplier of the energy, and Commonwealth Edison is just the distributor of it. And so we have chosen for more than 10 years now to have 100% renewable energy in their community aggregation. So everybody's home did not opt out of this project currently has 100% renewable energy at a very favorable rate. I see a question. Oh, okay. But but I want you also to know that that one of the things that the energy team at Climate Action Evanston is promoting is looking ahead in your home at the things that you can do to prepare for reduced carbon and decarbonization of your home. And we suggest strongly that anytime you're replacing an appliance, you might have pre-selected something that's electric or a hybrid hot water heater or induction cook stove or clothes dryer. And planning ahead might include pre-wiring your home for the proper electricity to operate these things. And I have a couple of my bills here. If anyone wants to look at these before we leave, I'll linger for a few minutes. My colleagues from the Energy Action team are here. If anyone would like to leave their name and contact information for more information, we'll be happy to supply it to you as fast as we can. Yes. I'll give you a great example. I've been involved in the Citizens for Greener Evanston and Climate Action since 2007, since we began. And my home needed a new hot water heater. But because I didn't have the proper 240 volt, 40 amp service near it, I couldn't install it. It would have taken 3 weeks to get a hot water heater, and that just did not fly with my wife. So I regret that I did not. So I'm already planning ahead to the next appliance. It might be my clothes dryer or my hot water heater. My cooktop. I want to get an induction cooktop.
The city is pushing all electric eventually.
I would say that our society is doing that to preserve itself, but there's a lot of legal entanglements surrounded by reducing the gas hookups. There's a lot of restaurants and other commercial users who are very upset with that. So one step at a time. Otherwise, that's all I have. Thank you, Juan. It's been very generous of you to share your microphone.
No problem. This kind of dovetails into something I sent out, I think, in the newsletter. So one of the things that Evanston is spending their ARPA money on is this Green Homes project. You've also probably heard it referred to as one-stop shop. There is pretty limited. It's a pilot program to help folks do things like pre-wire and get their homes ready for new technologies. I'm someone like my home has solar panels, and I'm very fortunate. It was really complicated to figure out what exactly I had to do. There was a lot of work. I was just lucky that our electrical infrastructure was big enough to handle it. A lot of things that most homeowners don't have the time to figure out themselves. This program is targeting folks that are more low income in the lower income census tracts who don't have money to do this on their own. And so the exciting thing is we can have, I'm looking at this as something that can help people stay in their homes longer, to cut their energy costs and make these changes that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do on their own. We're also looking at it as a way to kind of make a playbook for other folks who have means but don't know where to start to do these changes on their own. So this is I'll share this in the meeting notes, but there are, it's mainly in the 8th ward and the 5th ward. There's more eligible properties, but it's something people should check out. And I'm hoping that once this kind of takes off and we get the pilot going, that this is something we'll expand and hopefully get more federal dollars to do work like this with folks. So, okay. Ooh. Here, Michael, I will unmute you here. I can figure out how to do that.
I didn't have a question. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, no problem. I guess at this point, Pat.
This is regarding the lead pipe replacement, and people who are having their main water mains being replaced now in the past to present. Some of them are getting their lead pipe replaced as well. The city is paying for that. We, Keeney, had our water mains replaced years ago. Because we are not eligible to have this. So I know that it's 2025 or 27. State has said that has to be done. And, but I know that some folks on Dodge, some of those I can't see come in and do that. All this money that's coming to this private building and that project.
And I.
is that my fault? The city is spending here, and what we need is money to everything. This is the
And
City Hall. Mitigation strategy. Let's stand on the plans.
well, we have to eventually replace them. So this is like a federal. I mean, there is a target date, and we can share. The water department has that information online, but it is an extremely huge infrastructure problem and a big project that we're starting. And I feel bad because I know a lot of this we're centering this on census tracts that are historically marginalized, and I know that the majority of the 9th Ward is not affluent and wealthy, but we're having to wait our turn. So that's just the unfortunate fact of, and I think it's fair. Like I don't think, and it totally stinks that, you know, you were lucky to have the water main, but it, you know, the timing of it is unfortunate. Right.
Is it fair to say that they open up the streets to do some kind of water fund? As a matter of course, automatically, or
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yes. So the zone. So I'm wearing my Envision Evanston 2045 T-shirt. You know, I'm like wearing the concert T-shirt to the concert in a way. So right now a lot of things happening. So there's still community engagement happening. I encourage everyone to fill out the form if you haven't already. It will be going to Land Use Commission, and they're going to be evaluating. And then the hope is that we should have some form of it in front of us. I think, is it January? Yeah, it's an aggressive, like our housing and community development folks have been like a full court press working on this. So I will show my cards right now. I think one of the big things is having gentle density. So I think, in my opinion, R1 zoning historically has sometimes been used to keep people out of neighborhoods and keep neighborhoods very static. I tell people, for some folks, it sounds really scary that you're going to say like, we're going to eliminate R1, but really the economics of it is that, like, especially here in Evanston, like no one has enough money to buy a whole block of beautiful single family homes, raise them, and put up a 30-story building. It doesn't make any economic sense. In other like example communities like Minneapolis and Portland, when they've done this, it's really to have like a slow, like this is going to be a very slow change. And so I'm hopeful that we can come to consensus and do that. I know there's another thing I'm personally feel pretty strongly about is parking minimums. I think we've built way too many parking spaces downtown when we could have been building apartments for folks. It's been shown that like most people, if you want to live downtown next to the L, they don't want to have a car. I think, but also, that we should be thinking of like new types of housing. The tiny homes project is an interesting example where, they take, a double lot and put smaller efficiency homes. That's something that, 20 years ago, we had nothing in our zoning code to like accommodate for that. And so I think having something that's future forward looking, I think is important. And I'm hoping that we will get that in front of us soon. So I hope that kind of adds. Yeah. And I know we also just recently received, so the equitable zoning project, the information, the report. I think I literally got it today. I haven't read it yet, but looking to see what their recommendations are. But, trying to make more types, because it's not just one type of housing for everyone. And so we need a variety, so. All right. So that's, I would say put in a 311 ticket. And if it's not, okay. We'll talk offline and we'll get something going about that. So, okay. So I'm going to turn off the recording right now and I'll stick around in case anyone wants to talk.